Too poor to get a job, you are making stuff up again. Mutual aid is the logical revolution in a capitalist system. Did you know that you could be too poor to get a job? I volunteer with an organization in my local area who does outreach to the homeless people in our area. Once a week, we bring a hot meal to whoever we can find, along with snack bags and other survival supplies. This team also works throughout the week to provide people with resources they need. And some of the things they do, in addition to food distribution, is help these people get employment despite being so poor that they're homeless. Too poor to get a job, you are making stuff up again. So someone living on the street presumably doesn't have access to a regular shower. I haven't been to an interview in a long time, but when I would go, it's always best face forward. Best outfit, shower, clean nails, smell nice but don't smell too nice. Can you imagine if you're living in the woods behind like the Walmart? The organization I work with has regular shower days where they coordinate with local facilities and the local homeless population so they can use the facilities to clean themselves up. Just a few weeks ago, we had a laundry day that included haircutting. I was talking to a woman this week about setting up blessing boxes with stuff like deodorant, because that's the kind of thing that people take for granted. But it's another thing that could go a long way in helping somebody get employed versus not getting employed. There's a huge stigma against smell in this country, and body odor especially, and it can quite literally stand in the way of employment and being able to access survival resources. Another way you can be too poor for employment is if you literally don't have an address. Because what do you have to do when you fill out an application, or if you get hired and you fill out paperwork? You have to have an address. If you don't have an address, if you don't have an up-to-date ID, if you don't have a bank account, there are few jobs you can actually get. And if that is compounded with lacking access to hygiene. So another thing my org does is provide a P.O. box. They raise funds regularly and keep a P.O. box so that people can receive mail, receive checks, and apply to jobs. They can use the P.O. box as their address. Mutual aid isn't just about sending money to people. Money is really important because money is literally connected to survival in a capitalist society. But people need other resources. This org just got one woman out of rehab and into a job, raised money to get scrubs for her, and one member of the org is driving her to work every day because she doesn't have a car or a license because she's been homeless. Capitalism and colonialism demand hyper-individualism, but that's antithetical to being human. It's literally oppositional to the human experience. The saying is, it takes a village to raise a child, but that doesn't stop at some perfunctory made-up age, 18. From womb to tomb, from birth to earth, people need help, period. Even the most hyper-individualistic person you can think of, the man living alone in the Siberian mountains for 20 years, relies on community support to survive, relies on community support and outreach and mutual aid for quality of life. I'm so happy to be involved with this organization. I'm so happy that they exist and they have been working toward where they're at for years. I am so honored to get to work with them and see their passion and how far they go to help the people around them who are most in need. And that's the thing about mutual aid. It's vital that we uphold and support our most vulnerable community members because they're our most vulnerable community members. The same reason we go out of our way to protect children, because children are vulnerable. Part of the reason children are vulnerable is because they're an oppressed class, and the people I'm talking about who are most vulnerable in our society, who might need mutual aid help the most, are also part of oppressed classes. Being poor is a marginalization in a capitalist society. You literally don't have the means to survive. And a lot of times you get to the point where you don't have the means to get to the point where you have the means to survive. Because being poor is expensive. Being alive is expensive. And if you don't have money for it, if you don't have insurance for medical treatment, you know what I'm saying? And that's just the financial cost of things. That's just the monetary burden. Mutual aid is also founded on the idea that we all need help and support. Resources go beyond monetary, which is what I'm trying to talk about here. Showing up for these people, putting in time, energy, effort, just trying means so much to somebody who has lost everything. Think about a moment in your life when you were just like at your lowest, whatever that looks like to you, whatever comes to mind, and somebody showed up for you. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you lost a loved one. Maybe you went through a breakup. Maybe things were just not going your way for a long time and somebody showed up for you, however that looked like. Now imagine if every day was something going wrong. Imagine if every day you didn't even know if you'd have money for food, let alone other things people need to get through the day, let alone the ability to get to a place where you might be more financially stable again. Once you get to the point where you're living on the street, it is so hard to get out because you have to overcome things like what I've been talking about. Not having an address to get jobs, not having access to regular hygiene, not having access to new and clean clothes, even not having access to regular meals. Can you imagine trying to answer interview questions when you're hungry and tired and hot? Can you imagine trying to get to an interview if you don't even have a home to live in, let alone a reliable means of transportation? Now imagine if you live somewhere like the southern United States with horrible public transportation. I talk to people a lot who struggle just to be able to make it to the library, to a doctor's appointment, to their own storage facility, to see their own stuff. People can't get reliable transportation to the grocery store, let alone an interview for a job, let alone a job. These kind of organizations and mutual aid work in general is vital to get us out of this place we're in, this capitalistic colonial place that is killing everyone except the most elite. And even if you're watching this and you feel financially secure right now, you feel stable, you feel safe, you could be one accident or one infection away from everything going wrong. One firing, one missed paycheck for some people. When we don't have systems of support for our most vulnerable, that means we don't have systems of support for anybody. That means we are all vulnerable. So my challenge to you is to find organizations in your area that are doing this. And if you can't, talk to your friends about what you can do. As far as I know, this organization started with meal outreach. And it's just been growing as they learned what people need most and are driven by their need to help them get what they need. Talk to a local church about putting a blessing box out. There are homeless people. There are people in need in your area, even if you don't see them. I was talking to a woman on Sunday who was just kind of excited that she put her blessing box where some homeless people happen to be living. And we were talking about what they would need that she could keep stocking in there. Talk to me about your ideas. Talk to me about what you do to help the most vulnerable in your area, to help people in need. Do you volunteer? Do you do mutual aid? What do people need? How can people be too poor to get a job? People are dying all around us because they can't access resources. Because we are tied into this hyper-individualistic mindset of, I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, and that's it. Or I'm going to take care of those most close to me. Which there isn't anything wrong with taking care of the people around you. But we are a global community. And with capitalism in particular, your money is tied up in the exploitation and suffering of so many, including your next door neighbor, probably. And mutual aid is opposite to capitalism. It's not about extraction or exploitation or competition. It is about circulating the resources. It is about getting the resources to those who need them in the moment. Whoever that is. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's somebody else. Sometimes it's both of us. It's about changing the way we distribute resources so that everyone has access to them. Capitalism puts a paywall in front of everything, including survival. Most importantly, survival. Mutual aid is a way to tear down that wall.